How big is the CR500 piston? Same size as a Milwaukee fucking coffee cup. So, welcome to DocWob TV. This one's a little bit different than normal. This is a production 2001 CR500 we're doing for a customer. We don't do much customer build stuff, but he's been on to me because he's got a collection of bikes. And basically what he wants to do is have the bikes rebuilt to be nice and then pass them on to his kids in any event of anything happening. And that way, then there's no tax involvement. There's no inheritance tax 40% business. So I'll go through what we're going to do to it and whether you can do this and make it viable. The market's not what it used to be through COVID. The market went crazy. The market's definitely a lot lower now, but what happens when the markets drop is tends to be the cheaper stuff loses all of its money, but the top end stuff it tends to be okay. So Mark, if we can get all these boxes in next door and put a frame with a box next to it, and I'll be like, this is how far we got with the next builds. And if we can get them, that motor and the other one laid out on the bench so we can see what we're dealing with. So they say you can't go wrong with a Honda 500. People love them. I mean, they're not the nicest thing to ride, but they're easy to work on. They're as reliable as a wood burning stove, you know what I mean? There's nothing, they're great bikes really. Awful to ride, but if you were to pick a bike to have as an investment, CR500 you can't go much wrong with. Now, you can go two ways when you rebuild one of these, and most of the time you want it to look like as much like a new stock bike as possible. You start going off piste and going purple rims and blue bars, you might think it's pretty, but your guy buying it has got to have exactly the same taste as you, which is unlikely. So you either go full race team look or you go full stock look. Again, you go off piste at your peril. You may like it, but that don't mean it's going to be worth any money. So the 01 CR500 is the last one they made, so that's always going to be a good starting point. This particular one was bought from California, I believe, West Coast America anyway, Colorado maybe. So it's not rotten. We've had it apart, it'll come apart a bit more. Danny came to film when we're halfway through stripping it, so we'll split the cases, and what we do first off is we give the customer a report. Basically, you'll get a report of what we found. Like for example, on here, the cases are broken a little bit where the chain guide bolts on, which is not uncommon. Chain comes off and all this stuff's really close. So what bore's in it? And then what I do is I go into, what's really strange is like, right now, say the radiators are 60%. They're good enough to use. Well, I don't know if this guy wants the bike to be like a brand new pin, in which case I have to buy some new rads. What we do anyway, we sell the second-hand stuff. If it's usable, it gets sold. So that'll get somebody out of trouble who may not be building a new repro. So basically, we'll rebuild the motor, we'll do the frame. It's almost a shame to powder coat it because they're only original once, but we'll powder coat it, fluff and buff the swing arm. Spokes and rims very, very rarely get to go again. So we'll put new spokes, rims on it. It's got new tyres on actually. Rebuild the suspension, probably new linkage bearings, and just make it look like a brand new thing and work like a brand new bike as close as we can. I don't know what oversized the piston is, but it's certainly smaller than my coffee cup. Engineers over here. Where's my coffee anyway?
I thought you would be coming.
No.
Piston.
So obviously the base of the bike's the frame, and it's in good shape. It needs powder coating. It's pretty grubby looking, but we'll give it a good clean. We'll steam it. We'll check for cracks, check the underside for damage. Just a few little rock dents on this, but I don't think it's rotten. So we'll do some investigative work, find out if it's rotten. If it is, it'll have a weld on skid plate and repair the rails. If it's not, I'll speak to the customer, see if he wants a weld on lugs for aluminium skid plate. Never know. We will powder coat it, we'll mask out the VIN numbers and all that stuff. You can buy these plates, you can reproduce those plates now, so we'll do that. It depends what the customer wants, whether he wants it to look like a stock bike. He may come back and want the frame yellow, I don't know, but it's a fine line. But all we can do at the moment is take it apart and tell him what the bike he's bought is actually like underneath all the plastic and all the bits and pieces. But having a frame that's not been painted before is a really good start. You buy a bike that the frame's been done on, there could be anything underneath it, so you don't know what you're buying. So it's a good start. The frame is in good shape. Swing arm's pretty good. A couple of marks. What we normally do with the swing arm is we strip it down, anodize strip it, then fluff and buff it. Problem with this is it's still got the original chain adjuster stickers on. It's a decision then, because it's only original once. This side will clean up nice. The problem is that side's not so nice. So we're going to have to make a decision on that one. But again, all I can do is take it apart, clean it up, and tell the guy what we think, and then he can make a decision on how much money he wants to spend, because it's all about the money. And that's an awful thing to say. It's a passion for all of us, but this guy wants these as an investment. So I don't know what he's bought the bike for. It's none of my business. So he's bought the bike, and he's going to need to know how much to spend on the thing and what spec he wants it when it's finished. If he wants it to look like the Kender Diker bike we built for Farley, that's going to be expensive, because that had kit suspension and all kinds of stuff. I suspect he's going to want tie bolts and obviously new plastic, powder coat frame, new rims, new spokes, new seat cover. Does he want an alley tank? Well, I don't know, nothing wrong with that one. But again, I don't know how trucky he wants it to be. The forks actually are in good shape. I'll show you those in a minute. They just need a service. Whether they want to go the Cashmere Gold colour is an option we can give him. Again, until I've written the report and we've had a meeting with a Zoom call with the client, showed him a few of the things, run through the numbers. He can come back with a number where he wants to spend on it, where he wants to have it owing him, and then we can then make a plan of attack. So next time you see this, hopefully it'll be either in more bits even or back together. So suspension's in good shape. Shock is in worse shape than the forks. Forks have been apart. You can see spanner marks on the top, but they're not. Nobody's been at them with mold grips or Stilsons. You'd be surprised how much of that we see. The fork tubes are in good shape. Some of these older bikes, they get a stone chip back in the day, or something cuts through the anodizing, and they can flake. They can get like, they rot almost, and it's like, you won't fix it now. But these are in good shape. Now, we could anodize them, the Cashmere Gold colour, but what we do is we anodize the tube and then we polish the seal part of it back again. That'd look really nice, but I don't think these need it. These are genuine fork guards. They go this manky, tooth decay, yellow looking colour. So I know where we're at. There's no damage to the fork, stanchion, no big chunks at the bottom. These will clean up like brand new, so that's good. Shock, usual thing, bump stops, nasty. Quite often there's rust underneath the bump stop on the shaft, but you're never going to have a problem with the seal. We won't touch it. So that's a bit of work. Shock's never been apart. You can see there's never been a spanner on it. So the shock will need rebuilt. Powder coat the shock spring, replate these rusty nickel plate parts. It's just whether he wants the body to look like a kit one or whether he's happy with the standard look. Again, it's back to the customer for that, what he wants to spend, what he wants the bike to look like at the end of the day. All you can do is give our recommendations and go from there, which is weird because we don't do customer builds as a rule. Or if we do, it's on factory bikes and I know what they've got to look like. There's no discussion really. It's like if I'm doing it, that's what it's going to look like. So on these, we don't do many because most customers are quite hard work. They want everything for nothing, as you always do. But we have a few customers who understand you pay the right money and the bike's worth the right money when it's finished. And so if we put our name to it, it's the right thing. So I know that. So I know this is not a normal video for us, but this is just what we do. This is the nuts and bolts of the business. So motor-wise, first job's done. We've checked for damage. Usual Honda 500 chains come off at some point, damage the case. So we'll have to bear the motor down. Martin, the engineer, will machine the damaged piece down to nice and square and flat. Then Martin, the engineer, will make a new tower, and then Martin, the welder, will weld it in place. We'll clean it up, so you'll never know it's been damaged. Without question, new seals, new bearings, new gaskets, new piston, new clutch plates. Everything's new anyway. That's not for discussion. Whether we go oversized on the piston, we'll have to double check the ring gaps, see whether the piston needs, it's all in good shape. Definitely a set of reeds, set of clutch plates, like I said, all new. Probably put a rod in it. No point having it down that far and not. So the rebuild on the engine is going to be pretty much the same, whether it's done as a race bike or a stock bike. You don't want to be porting one of these things. They're fast enough as they are, kid. You don't want to be having that in your life. Whether it has, we got Honda Racing clutch ignition covers if you like, if you want some, if you want to go down that road. So these are all options. But unfortunately, the engine build is pretty much a set price. There's not going to be, once we have it apart and we can see if there's any damaged gears or selector forks, or if there's anything horrible in there, which I doubt because they're pretty strong, we can fairly easily calculate what the engine's going to cost to fix. So obviously this bike comes from the States. It's been used in the desert. I've put money on it. Check those out. Some brain surgeon has decided he wants bigger foot pegs on his bike. So they've welded some nuts on and made an extra. I mean, I suppose it would work. It looks gash, looks terrible. But whether I spend 3 or 4 hours with a grinder and trying to make them back to original, or we just put some aftermarket pegs on it, again, up to the customer, but I ain't botting them on. You're like, Jesus, what are you thinking? So a couple of things which will end up in the sale pile. Pretty much a brand new it's not brand new, but it's certainly in good condition. Pro Circuit CR500 pipe. Nothing wrong with the pipe, apart from it's plated. Just no. Silencer, FMF, dented, just nah. So we'll have to have the discussion with the customer, what pipe and silencer he wants to use. I wish I could find somebody who could get the nickel plate off the pipes. We've tried a few places. It don't happen. It just destroys the pipe, and it's so rusty, and it's so much work to bring back. It's just not viable. It's 3 days work. So we'll probably just sell the pipe, put the money towards buying another non-plated pipe so it looks like it's supposed to look. I'd recommend to the customer, we run a dog leg silencer, which are proper for the bike that year. These shorty silencers, okay if you're in the desert and you're hanging off the back of it and you're just top end, but if you're going to ride it in anywhere sensible, you need all the torque, and that little silencer don't give you that. So you don't want that in your life. And as with all our rebuilds, you can race them. Yeah, they may look pretty, but you can sit on them, put fuel in them, go race, and not be concerned that we cut any corners, because well, we won't do that. But I can, luckily I've been around and I can tell you what it's supposed to look like, and if you listen to me, we'll build it and it'll look pretty and it'll be worth the money. So hopefully this one won't take too long before it's on build, because we've got quite a lot going on at the moment. This one's going to be, it's in bits now because we're now getting to the point where we start to work on the 5 Yamahas that we've got for VMXDM Foxhill and Farley. They've got to take priority. So the next time you'll see this is those bikes will be up on their feet, we call it. So the wheels will be in and the motors will be built, and we're going to be tinkering with, ancillaries. So this will get done in the summer because I want to have them bikes finished. If them bikes are not finished by the end of May, I'm not going to be a happy shopper. So that's it for this video. We got plenty to crack on with. We got the VMXDM Foxhill coming up in August bank holiday. 3 weeks after that, we got Farley Castle Vets, which we've got a different group of guys racing that one. So we've got a Yamaha we're building for Tommy Searle, which is not going to be Yamaha anymore. It's going to be a dirt store bike. So there's that, and then there's 4 more Yam builds. So we've got quite a few names. We've announced Carson Brown. We've announced Ryan Sipes. Obviously, Mike Brown's riding the bike from last year. Alessio Chioda's riding his bike from last year. Yamaha are working on a couple more of their ambassador types to come. And we've got some more names to announce for Farley as well, which is we've got a TV star coming for that one. That's going to be cool. That's all agreed, but hasn't been announced yet. My social media girl kicks off if I tell you who's coming before she does. So apparently there's a plan for that. So rather than me spilling my guts, keep an eye on the social media channels. Needless to say, it's all steam ahead. It's all looking really good. We got new title sponsors for both events. We got some big stuff happening. It's going to be crazy. But Carson Brown's going to be a big one. I'm looking forward to seeing him shredding. He's hard on bikes, but we'll see. So thanks for anybody who bought the T-bars from the last video. That really does help. It just goes to show that what we're doing actually turns into sales, which is kind of why we're here. So I'm going to the States next week. I'm going to deliver a load of these to the teams. They're all bugging me for stuff. So don't worry, boys, your stuff's on its way. I've got to go to PC next week, get them to do some stuff. So, and I'm going to go to the Glen Helen World 2-stroke race. Just go and see some people who I used to know. Go and hang out with RV and a few of them. So there's going to be a few faces to come from that. So I'll do a little video for that for you. Right, time to move on. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Buy some more T-bars. It really does help.